record. Welcome everybody to the Team Fearless Freedom call. Michelle is buried in Bookland, trying to get those final parts of her book out, so she's not able to be here tonight. But I'm really excited to have you guys here. We just had some fun chatting it up with our Q&A and sharing some takeaways that Sarah and I had from our trip, which was a lot of fun. And tonight, I've been trying to think of like takeaways from the trip and things to help you guys. And basically, from everything that I've been learning and that we experienced on the trip, coming back, and then I had a webinar this morning with Tracy Morrow and a leadership group that I've been in. What I realized is not only are there vital behaviors in our business, but we also have to be careful how we approach them and keeping things simple. And so sometimes if you're like me, I'm a visual person. So what I wanted to walk you through tonight basically is what are the non-negotiables in this business and how to do them where you can be all in, but not all day. How can you be successful as a coach, but also be balanced as a wife and a mom, or if you have another job or have another life too, like have hobbies and different things. Because one thing we talked a lot about on the trip is the wanting and the desire to be helping other people to growing this business. A big part of my vision and my why is helping you guys reach your goals. But I also have 6 children and a husband and a house and friends. So how do we keep the balance? Well, the first thing I want to share with you is the 3 vital behaviors for Beachbody, if you're not aware of them. The first, and I'm doing them actually in backwards order, but the first that I have down is personal development. It is key to this business. You will not succeed in this business if you're not listening or reading personal development. You might make it for a little while, but then eventually what's going to happen is the no's or the rough day are going to start to get to you, and you need those tools in your toolbox. You need the ability to talk yourself through a stressful day, know how to deal with negative people, know how to be balanced, understand how to organize yourself, understand how to overcome when you have issues that come up from your past. And that's what personal development is. It's more than just like self-help. It's taking the time to develop yourself and get the skills you need. So anything from strengthening your marriage, making you a better parent, learning how to organize your time, learning how to invite and connect with people, you need to be developing those skills. And so it's a non-negotiable. If you're not doing it, you're eventually going to, I believe, wear yourself out. And so what I want to encourage you, at least 10 minutes a day to listen to a podcast or be reading something, even if it's just a chapter a day. I just discovered this app from the library where I could get audiobooks for free. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. But you want to make sure you're doing personal development. So that to me right now is a non-negotiable. It's such a non-negotiable that now I'm really encouraging my challengers to do it. Because I'm learning that I can't help them through some of those hurdles. They need to develop the skills themselves to help them with the emotional piece of the journey. The second is being proof the product works. Being committed to your program, not just kind of, I might do this today and I might do this tomorrow. Something that the coaches shared at the trip on the cruise in the top 10, they shared about the importance of following a program because we want to be showing people that what we do works. And it doesn't just mean showing like I've lost this weight, but also that you're getting stronger, that you're feeling better on the inside and the outside. You need to be proof the product works because just Sarah said this earlier, Summer shared this with us. People believe what you say for about 6 months and then they're going to believe what you do. So, if we're talking about health and fitness, but we're never sharing about what we're doing, like to take care of ourselves, the ups and the downs, then we're not relatable and you're not relevant. And that's not true. All of us are relevant and relatable. So that's why being the proof the product works, really what that is just making yourself a priority. making your health a priority. As a fitness coach, if you really want to help other people, you really need to be taking care of yourself. So I want to encourage you guys to make sure you're drinking your Shakeology, you're working out at least 5 days a week. You're following a program. If you don't want to do one program, that's why the challenge du jour on Beachbody On Demand is awesome, because it's set up in a way that they line up perfectly to have a flow, to complement one another, and to help you. But, being proof the product works is not being perfect. It's just showing that you're committed to this, and it builds trust. And then the last vital behavior that the company talks about is invite. And what this is talking about is inviting by meeting new people. You go, yesterday, my daughter was at a retreat. We went to the little luncheon afterwards, and I met 2 new people. So we are connecting through email right now, and we're going to connect through Facebook. I don't know if they're going to ever do a challenge. I have no idea, but I met 2 new people. So they're on my contact list now because I want to get to know them. That's his cheesy smile. The second way of inviting is connecting and following up with people. Once you've started those friendships, you want to connect with people. An easy way to do that, send a happy birthday message to people. Follow up after you send them a message. If someone accepts your friend request, and just say, thanks so much for accepting my friend request. How have things been going? It's just building relationships. And the final invite is inviting into a challenge group or into your team. So you really want to be doing the first 2 invites first. And if you're doing personal development and you're being proof of the product, then when you're inviting, people are going to kind of know what you're talking about. And you're going to have that trust and rapport with them. So those are the company's non-negotiables that Beachbody talks about when they say the 3 vital behaviors. We've kind of added 2 more vital behaviors to this. Number 4 is sharing your story through social media. So sharing your personal development reading, sharing things that you've read that have touched your heart, adding value to people, sharing reflections, sharing your workouts, sharing the program you're following. There's some coaches that have shared that they will post every day, like Hammer and Chisel day 1, Hammer and Chisel day 2. Marianne did that with P90X3. It was awesome because you could see every day that person was doing their workout. Sharing on social media builds that relationship. It's like your store. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Pinterest, there's what's the other one? Periscope, all sorts of things. But the biggest thing is, by sharing your story, you're actually inspiring and adding value to other people's lives. And you're creating the content for your conversation when you reach out. Because people, even if they don't like your post, are watching. I met a person yesterday who said they had read all of my blogs. I don't even know who they are. And they read all my blogs, which is awesome. So I feel like I have something to talk to them about, So sharing my story through writing is my way of reaching out to others. The 5th non-negotiable that I think is important that Rebecca Bain has talked about, and they actually mentioned it on the cruise, recognition, recognizing other people, shouting out challengers, shouting out your coaches, taking that time to, if you see somebody do something small but still significant, recognizing that in them. Because if we're doing that and we're adding value to others, we're building belief in people. And as a coach, more than weight loss to me, we want to help our challengers and our teams be healthy and fit, but it's even better if we can help them have belief in themselves. So by personal development and being proof the product works, we're building up our belief. By inviting people into relationships, we're creating the opportunity. And then by social media and recognizing others, we're presenting and creating that experience for people where they can grow in their own journey. And those are to me, non-negotiables. Now, the question though is, okay, how much time are we supposed to spend doing this? Because most of us are busy. We have kids, we have jobs, we have things going on. And so what I really wanted to kind of phase into is, it's simple, so why is it hard? Why do people quit? Why do people burn out? And I think it's because we have to do some things in our organizational side of this business to make sure that when we're all in, we're focused at that all in time, and then we're unplugged so that we're keeping balance. Because if you're on Facebook all day long and every time someone comments, you're replying, which I've been guilty of doing, it looks like you're always on Facebook because and you don't have a life. And we don't want to present that. We want to, and if that's what we're doing right now, if that's where we are in our lives, because I've gone through that when I've been stressed and from spending way too much time on social media, that's the time to peel back and look at our priorities so that you can find balance again in your own life. So here are some things that I have put together as suggestions to help you that I have done. And the beauty of this business is your coaching business is your business. So you can take these suggestions and you can tweak them to fit your schedule and your needs. Your coach or me or whoever can help you to tweak them to fit your needs. But this is what I'm doing to help me stay on track. Number one, set office hours. You do not need to be on the computer all day long to be all in. You don't have to be on all day. Oh, and the beauty of this is I actually typed all these up and I'm going to post the notes on the team page afterwards too. So you just need to have focus time. So how much time do you need? If you're a new coach, you need 30 to 45 minutes a day of focus time to do your personal development and your power hour. And then your workout, would make an hour. And well, if you're doing 22 minutes, it could be an hour total. But you want to have set office hours. If you are growing a team, then that time might be a little bit more. You might be at an hour and a half. If you have a large team, it slowly grows. But then when you get to that point, you can learn how to outsource some things and to save time. But the main point of this, what I'm trying to say now, is you want to have office hours set aside each day. When are you going to do your power hour or breaking it into 2 times? When are you going to do your work? Making that priority and making sure that you have a set time every day that you're focusing on your business, so you're not just doing it all day long off your phone. And if you have to work on your phone, because I used to have to too before I had a computer, that's fine. But you need to dedicate, this is my time that I'm going to do this. The second tip I have on how to keep focused with your non-negotiables is you need a plan. There's a quote that says, those that fail to plan to fail. So I use a planner. I use a planner pad. That's my favorite kind of planner. And on my planner pad, I have highlighted in yellow when my office hours are. I sit down on Sunday and I talk to my husband and get his schedule for the week. And then I pick out, okay, these are the times of the day I'm going to work my business. So this week I started getting up today at 5 a.m. I had 30 minutes of prayer time. And then from 5:30 to 6:30 I worked. We had more prayer time. But yeah, I worked from 5:30 to 6:30. And then my kids were up, so I unplugged. I was off. And then I knew I had a call today, so I highlighted that section and I took advantage if I was going to have a call right after to do the rest of my power hour. I knew I needed to prepare for my team call, so I planned it in my day. And then what's wonderful about when you plan and you have a planner is that you can also make sure your other priorities are in there. So I had homework time planned in my day, dinner time planned in my day, family prayer time, all of those priorities. And when you do the 7-day calls with your coach, and if you're an older coach before this was created, day 2 is all about your priorities and your goals. These are the things you want to plan into your day. And I highly recommend you do that call or do that assignment to help you prioritize your day and really plan when you're going to work and when you're going to be off. For me, because it's a little sporadic, because I have 6 children and sometimes like my one of my kids is sick now and my husband is working tonight, it can change a little bit, but there's a basic plan. And the other thing I do otherwise is I have an unplugged time of day. Every morning I'm unplugging for a few hours to make sure I'm being present to my son, getting stuff done around the house, getting errands run. And then from 3 to 8, today was an exception, but typically that was kind of my thing for Lent, I unplug. And, it's been really freeing in a lot of ways to just, I'll have to get to it later. And then, I've also set Mondays and Tuesday nights because I have calls. That's when I work. But Wednesday night's date night, so I'm unplugged. And Friday night's family night. The whole point here is you plan it in. And if you're struggling, also make sure you're planning when you're not going to work. Like, I will not be working at this time. And tell your kids, to have that accountability. Because that way you're not going to burn out. You have that time to be refreshed, and you build that trust with your challengers and your coaches where they know, like, you're not available all the time and they can do this business too on their own time and not have to stress that they have to be doing it all day long too. I want a couple things to plan in your day. I just have some suggestions. Your workouts, when you're going to do personal development, when you're going to do your power hour, write down when the calls are. I don't listen to the National Wake Up Call live, so I usually listen to it on Wednesdays. It's kind of in my plan. Plan your family time, plan your date nights, those are the key things that you need to make sure every week you're planning. And it could change from week to week a little bit based on schedule. The other piece of planning is planning your inviting. If you use in our Fearless Freedom Google Drive, we have a document that says go for no. You want to plan your inviting out by, number one, having a list that you're inviting with. That way, when you go to invite, you know who you want to be messaging. So, for example, every month I make a list on this sheet of paper that says invite, go for no. And I'll make a list of like 30 names. Because if you want to hit SC5, you want to invite 30 people. If you want to hit SC10, you want to shoot for 60 people, just for the average. And when I go to invite, I want to make sure that I have my list, because that way if I say I'm going to do all my invites every morning for 10 minutes, I pull out my list and I'm focused. You want to make sure that you're also planning, with your forming and your follow-ups and your phone calls. Like, if you don't have set times to do those things, they're going to just take up your day. So, for example, when I do calls with you guys, I have call times slotted off on Monday nights, Tuesday nights, and Thursday mornings, or when I do calls. And I can give more. This is kind of turning into a tangent. I can give more information for that later for those that need it. But the most important thing is just that you have a plan. And that you honor that, and you tell your husband your plan, your kids even your plan if they're old enough, and they can help you to honor that plan. The next thing that really helps with the planning is the trackers. And I was talking a little bit with some coaches, and I wanted to share with you just briefly how I track so that I can focus in on the times I've scheduled. So I shared that I use an invite list. And when I send out invitations on the invite list, there's a section that has a place for notes. I'll write down the notes from our conversation in that section. The next piece of it is I use in the online office 2 things every week that I print off. One is the business activity tracker. He wants you to see the duck. Gotta love our business. And the other one is called the Power of 3. So basically what I do, like today, I sat down and on the Power of 3, I added people. I connected with people, meaning I sent messages to someone just to, hey, how's it going? I invited 3 people to the upcoming refocus. I followed up with 4 people that I had invited previously to the premiere and weren't ready. And once their names are written down, I'm done. Now, what Jill does and I do, because things can get a little crazy, is like what I say is I actually went ahead and added all my new people for the week because I boosted a post and I got to know some new people. And what that means is they're friend requests that I sent. And when they accept my friend requests, I check their name off, and I keep these Power of 3s just to keep them as a document of just names of people so that later I can go reach out to them just to get to know them and see if there's a way that I can serve them. So I make sure that my Power of 3 is showing what days I've reached out. once the conversation starts, those people that I've invited, I start taking notes on my invite tracker. And that really helps me, because if I don't have this in front of me, you'll just start scrolling through messages and you can get lost in messages, and then you can actually lose people in your messages. So it's really been a huge help. And the other piece of it is the business activity tracker. There are a couple different variations. There's a checklist. There's a new coach business activity tracker, which is gold, that we got from Summer. There's one that's updated a little more snazzy for people who have a team. But basically what it is it's just, guys, if I sit down with my checklist, I can get everything I need to get done in a day in an hour for my business. So the checklist just gives me a place to check off, all right, I invited, I found some new people, I formed with some people, I answered my messages, I checked in my groups, and I can write down the names of my groups. And then as people commit, there's a place at the bottom to write their names. Like I have a person that wants to do the refocus group coming up, so I filled her in. So by tracking, the reason why this helps with your planning is because when you say office is closed, you can see what you did and you can stop worrying because you saw what you did. You know, there's that freedom of, okay, like I took the time, I had my office hours, I did my work, I can close my office now for the day and just be with my family. And you can go back to it later because you've written it down. If there's a question, if you're power of 3, are there different names each day? Yes. So for example, every day of my power of 3, I'll write down the names of who I invited. I'll write down the names of who I met that was new and who I messaged that was new. The only thing that you might have a repeat of is follow-ups, because you might want to follow up with somebody. So what I like on my power of 3 is I invited 3 people today. I'll write their names in the follow-up slot for Thursday, and I'll follow up with them then. And that way I don't lose them. And the thing is, too, as you do this, you're going to find a system that works for you. These forms can feel awkward at first, but it really helps to write them down. I've just found that when I don't, Sarah and I were laughing when we got on the cruise. I had a back of a manila envelope that I had written all the names down on. And I mean, it was like a mess by the time I got home. But I took those names and actually recorded them onto my Power of 3 when I got home, because it's easier to keep track of. I keep all of my old Power of 3s for the month, because that way at the beginning of the next month, I can use it to make my invite list. So that's been really helpful to me. Number 4, don't overthink it. I think that's what Amy Silverman said on the cruise. We overcomplicate things. Like if you're having a hard time, you're like, holy cow, Power of 3, what are you talking about? Just reach out to your coach or me or whoever, and let's hop on and we can print one off and figure it out together rather than getting overwhelmed. If you're overwhelmed, because I get overwhelmed, I'm very visual, it's most likely that you just need that extra time, and that is why we are here. You know, but also don't overthink your social media posts. Like Amy Silverman is one of the top coaches, and she made a joke about how she's like, nobody needs a post with like 20 flowers and 30 filters and 15 frames. And she's like, just post a picture of you and make it simple. That doesn't mean like we don't want to use these apps to make our posts engaging, because it's fun and it's good. But if you're finding you're spending a half an hour trying to post one post on Facebook, like, think about why it's taking so long and try to step back a little bit. Because a lot of times you'll hear, the number one thing I hear from coaches is, I feel like I'm on Facebook all the time. Well, let's see why. You know, if we're overthinking it, maybe it's because we're spending too much time worrying about our posts and we need to learn a little bit more of how to streamline them. Or if you're overthinking it, maybe you need to tap into ways to save time in your business, you know, and that's the one thing I've learned. The more simple we can keep it, the more successful we will be. because we can help other people reach their goals. If we make it too complicated, I used to create all these crazy business activity trackers and fill out all these forms and stuff because I thought it would make it easier. I was spending all my time making forms. I would rather you get a school planner and write names in it and have it in front of you than worry about creating the perfect form, because there's so many in our Google Drive that you can use. You can edit them if you want to, but the main thing is you just want to be tracking, you know. And I think when we overthink things, we get caught up in the process of creating training and stuff instead of tapping into what's available. So before you create something new, reach out and ask if there's already something there. Okay. Sorry. And then the fifth thing is tapping into the time savers. Creating interest lists, using the Facebook group app. Take the Facebook app off your phone. Don't use it on your phone. Only use Facebook Messenger and group. That way you're not distracted by news feeds. Those are just some tips, you know, using interest lists for forming. And if you're wondering what these are, when you go in the team page under descriptions, there are tutorials on what an interest list is and all of the stuff to show you. But basically, there's a Facebook group app. Oh, what did you just do, buddy? Hold on. I think you turned someone's There's a Facebook group app that you can download on your phone, and all you can do when you open it is just see the groups you're in. There's no news feed. There's no anything else. Just the groups that you're in, which is really cool because that way, like literally, if you have to work on your phone, okay, I'm going to check messages. I'm on Messenger. Now I'm off. I'm going to check Facebook groups. I'm only looking at my groups. Now I'm done. Like you're no longer, and like now we have the Beachbody app. Now I'm in my Beachbody app. Now I'm done. You can only do one thing at a time, which is really helpful. So take advantage of those things. The podcast app to listen to personal development is huge because it can help you save time. So those have really helped me. The Facebook app, group app especially, has helped me in my business. When you're working during your office hours, you know, that's a big thing though, to make sure it's during your time. So the last thing that I wanted to share, and I apologize, he's a little into things tonight. Top pieces of advice that resonated with me when I felt like quitting. You know, I have a pretty big why. I'm a very driven person, but there have been days that I just don't want to do it. There have been nights I don't feel like showing up and doing a call. I just don't want to do it. We've had stuff happen in our family where I've wanted to quit. The quitting was because I felt overwhelmed. I felt overwhelmed by my circumstances, and I didn't know how to improve them. And so these are some things that have been spoken to me. I really feel like it was truth spoken over me by other coaches or things that I've read that have helped me when I'm getting overwhelmed to keep it simple again. And some of these you probably heard. But number one is do not hold someone else's future captive in your mouth. When you're afraid to invite, when you're afraid to reach out to somebody, when you're afraid to start a conversation, this is a phrase that Tommy Migrant has said. He's an awesome coach who did the 5-step invitation process. He said it to Summer and inspired Summer. She spoke it, you know, it's trickled down. But think about it. Like, you have the ability, this business is a gift. You know, the opportunity to be in a challenge group can be life-changing. But a lot of times we say no for the person before they even tell us no. You know, and so if you approached it differently and you thought of it as like the future they could have, and you became a belief maker, that inspires me to act, to want to act rather than to hide. The second thing is, which is a big one that Summer says, and Michelle and I say, it's bigger than that. Think about what this business has done for you. Even if you're in a rut, whether you're in a rut in your fitness, you're in a rut financially, you're in a rut with having people sign up with you at this time, finding people to help, what has the business done for you? Do you feel better about you? Have you found freedom? Has personal development helped you? Do you like the community? Take time to think of it, because honestly, if this whole company folded tomorrow, I would have no regrets. I mean, I would be sad. My point is, I'm a different person. I'm a better person because of this business. It's bigger than a paycheck. You know, I've seen marriages healed. People found the Lord through this business. You know, you go to these events and you hear people's lives. It's bigger than that. And so when we have big picture thinking, then those little things that are stressing us, we can overcome them. Number 3, remember how you felt when you started and talk to that person. When you have a challenger or a coach or someone you're talking to and they're nervous, they're afraid, I don't know if I'm ready, that seems like a lot, that's too much money, I don't know. Remember how you felt. You know, remember who you were at that time and speak the truth you needed to that person. That's just going to help you realize it's not about you and help you focus back on that servant leadership. Number 4, do not be afraid of failing. Be afraid of not trying. To me, guys, the biggest growth I've had in this business through this is failing a lot. I have overworked. I have underworked. I have overcomplicated things. I've made the mistakes. I have sent 30-paragraph invites to people with everything but the ingredients to Shakeology when I first coached. It was horrible. I had no idea what I was doing, but I had to learn by failing. And, you know, to me, it would be better to make failing a habit because you keep getting back up and learning, like Maxwell talks about it. Sometimes you fail, sometimes I can't think of it right now. But basically, you know, my biggest thing is think of what you could miss out without trying, that person whose life, that person whose life could change. If you're building a business, something that's been really helpful to me is, Summer said this, and I know someone else has said it, think of it every month as that you want to keep going emerald. Like to be an emerald coach, you sign up 2 coaches underneath you. So if you're in this business to build a business and you want to build a team, if every month you try to go emerald again, it keeps it a little more simple because emerald rank is a lot of fun and it's the first rank we reach and it's a little easier for us because a lot of times we sign up like our spouse and then we'll sign up like a friend. But if you just kept every month thinking, oh, I'm going to go emerald again, it's a baby step instead of thinking like, oh, diamond, star diamond, how am I going to do this? Like, it's just finding 2 new people to bless. You know, I was talking to a coach today about that. Like Carrie Legault is going to be speaking in our call in April, and she said something phenomenal. She said, when you give someone this business, you're giving them a gift. Like it could change their life financially, physically, emotionally. It's a gift. If you treat it as a gift when you give it to somebody, it should take the stress off because if they tell you no, you're not feeling icky because you're just trying to give them a present and they essentially just don't feel like opening it yet, you know. But if you keep being patient with people in time, you know, a lot of hearts can be changed by that. And the last thing that came to mind was a quote that came from a call Tara Carr did, the National Wake Up Call, and she said to prosper where you're planted. You know, she's in Columbus. She'll be at our Super Sunday that we're going to. Her story is really powerful. If you can go to the old National Wake Up Call and listen to it. But basically, you know, it's about taking the circumstances of your life where you are and finding a way to prosper in it. When you do that, you offer hope to other people who are going through it too. And I think when we, you know, these top little tips that at the end, those are all basically things I've pulled from personal development and calls and things I've heard from other people, which is why it goes back to number 1. It's key. If we want, it is like the non-negotiable. You know, they talk about how if you want to be successful as much as you want to breathe, that's when you'll find success. They'll talk about if you want in your faith journey, like prayer is like air, you know, we need it. It's oxygen. It's so important, guys, because I think what happens when we burn out is we're trying to control things and fix things that are in front of us rather than keeping it simple, building relationships with people, helping serve their needs, and being patient with the journey. So, hope that's helpful. I did type all of this up in a little, I did type this up in a little document that I'll print with all of the points so you don't have to worry about frantically writing them down. But do you guys have any questions? Anything I can help with? Let's see if there's some things in the chat. You can unmute yourself. I can unmute everybody now. You can do this business while wrestling a 1-year-old. Anybody have any questions? Was that helpful? Okay, y'all are unmuted. Everything's good? Awesome. If y'all need help figuring out tracking stuff, like the best way to do it is just start tracking and then change it if you need to. Started like Jamie and Sarah, we were doing it in notebooks. Like,
that's what I was telling Rita today. I was like, there's so much out here for you to use, like, like with the training. I'm like, this is amazing to me because we were just like figuring it out.
I was like thumbing through notebooks trying to find the last place. Yeah. I mean, if you look on the description of the team page, there's actually a Google Drive like tour that'll walk you through where all the documents are. Well, thank you, everybody. Come on in. He's apparently, this is his cheesy smile. You smile? Say cheese? You gonna do cheese? That's it. Thank you. I'm glad it was, and I think it's funny. Sometimes we have to go back to the basics. Yeah, cheese. Yeah. Yes. All right, guys. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, here, I'm going to hit stop record.